Thank you, Neville. Once again, we're at the 7th Annual Antimicrobial Stewardship Antibiotic Symposium, and I think Neville touched on the journey we've had to get here. It truly has been building a cathedral over the last 6 years. How many people have been to, was at the first symposium? Rick, you can raise your hands. You were there. Tony, so our very first symposium, to put it in perspective, was held in Chicago, and it was basically animal ag talking to animal ag. It was a discussion that had to happen to start to build the foundation. It's been 6 years that NIAA has been working on this topic. The second one we had was in Columbus, Ohio, and we had an MD come from the medical school there, speak for a half hour and leave. It was at that point that we realized that we've had the conversation internally among the industry, and we had to then move into working with the human health side, environmental health side. And then with the help of Dr. Raymond, Steve Solomon, in bringing their wisdom and their contacts in, we moved to Kansas City and included CDC. We had more of human health involvement as well as the territorial state health officers. So we started to expand that dialogue. We then moved to Atlanta to involve the CDC directly, and now we've evolved to DC for the last 2 years, the second year, to make it be inclusive of both the government side, human health side, animal health side, and environmental side. So it's been a journey, and it's really, I think, some of the things that we get asked about in looking at this symposium is what have we accomplished? Where have we been from a symposium standpoint? Neville touched on it. We're hitting that peak where now we're starting to put more boots on the ground, and we expect more action out of the symposium. The thing that you can't measure that has occurred out of the symposium, and things I challenge you to, as the audience to do today, is the dialogue and the collaborations that have been fostered from participation in the symposium. Things like Dr. Siebert going to the feedlot in Nebraska with her group, with NCBA, was a conversation that started as a result of these types of symposiums. So with that, I challenge each and one of you to really do three things for me today. Is one, listen to understand, because we have a very diverse audience, and so if you can listen, understand every perspective we have today, it will help increase that dialogue. Speak to inform and educate, and then finally, engage in that dialogue. People sitting next to you at the tables around you all have a different perspective, different view of what antimicrobial stewardship is, what antimicrobial resistance is, and this symposium is specifically set for building that dialogue among all the parties and stakeholders. So if you can do the three things, listen, speak, and engage for me today, then you'll have a successful symposium over the next 48 hours. Thank you.
I'll be real brief. I just want to add to what Eric said, to thank you all for being here. That you are what it's all about. We have an extraordinary group of panelists and speakers that you're going to hear from over the next 3 days, but we wouldn't be here without you, without your interest in this topic. As Eric said, this is my 4th year working with NIAA, and it's been an absolutely fantastic experience because each year it gets a little bit better. And as the title said, this is about collaboration, and we get more collaborative, just as he said, as each year goes by. And as the logo tells you, you're going to hear a lot about One Health and what One Health really means in practice going forward. I just want to do a couple of other things real quickly, and then we'll get going. First, thanks to our sponsors and partners, again, without whom we wouldn't be able to pay for the coffee. Beef Checkoff, Merck Animal Health, United Soybean Board, Farmgate, Auburn's Food System Institute, Elanco, OFAR, Global Vet Link, Norbrook, and Zoetis. Thanks to all of you for sponsoring this conference, for bringing these folks together, bringing all our speakers in. It's a great honor for me to be here and to pursue this One Health agenda. So let's get the meeting started. I'm going to introduce our first speaker. It is truly an honor for me to introduce to you Dr. Ruth Linfield, who serves as the state epidemiologist and medical director for the Minnesota Department of Health. I have had the pleasure of knowing Ruth for a few years. She is, without question, one of the most distinguished and respected public health leaders in the United States. She keeps the Minnesota Department of Health at the forefront of science and public health practice. She has served as a member and a chair of numerous expert panels and advisory committees for the federal government, for CDC, for FDA. She's also been on panels for professional societies, such as the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Infectious Diseases Society of America. As we go forward, in your program book are the full biographies of all of our speakers and moderators, and I urge you to read them. It's just an extraordinarily distinguished group. But just one more word about Ruth. Just 3 weeks ago in San Diego, I had the privilege of being in the audience when Dr. Linfield was honored with one of the most prestigious awards and named lectureships by the Infectious Diseases Society of America. She gave an absolutely amazing presentation that brought together all of our themes, the human world, the animal world, the environmental world. I could go on, and I wish I could, but I think, like you, I'd much rather hear from Dr. Ruth Linfield.